It's Talk Point again on Lagos Television, and we're very happy that you can join us again. Peace and tranquility is very essential for development in any society. But it seems not to be the same situation presently in Rivers State, as there is a face-off between the governor of Rivers State, Governor Siminalayi Fubara, and also some lawmakers in the state. The tussle actually started sometime last year, about a few months after the governor was inaugurated as the governor of Rivers State, after Nyesom Wike left that post. And ever since, there has been issue from one place to another on that issue. You recall that sometime last year too, the Governor Fubara actually destroyed the House of Assembly, the Rivers State House of Assembly, and that created a whole lot of rancor and a whole lot of things, legal implications to it, and a whole lot. Now, the governor is also still set to destroy some quarters in Rivers State, making the House possibly ungovernable for the 27 lawmakers. They were former PDP lawmakers who actually defected to the APC, and there are still 4 PDP lawmakers there. That's what we'll be looking at this moment. I have in the studio with me a legal practitioner, Celestine Ilo. It's nice having you on board.
It's a pleasure being in the house.
Yes, so let me just ask you first, what is your own comment on the face-off between Governor Fubara and the lawmakers in Rivers State before we delve into other issues?
Well, as a Nigerian, I'm concerned because democracy is being ridiculed by the act of the governor and that of even the legislators themselves, and is totally unwarranted. Considering where we are coming from, people are paying dearly for this democracy. And these ones that are enjoying the dividend of democracy are now setting a different pace for us. So for me, it's a very worrisome situation. I least expected it coming from Rivers, particularly knowing that Rivers is, I think, one of our golden egg, the daily golden egg. Anything that affects Rivers affects the whole nation. By the time the pipeline start going off, people will start to understand what we're saying. So I'm particularly disturbed, considering the fact that Nyesom Wike was the governor there, and when he was in office, I don't think anybody disturbed him. So at this point, we expected him to allow the sleeping dog to lie. He has gotten his own part of the cake, so we expected him to allow this particular governor to govern the state. But be that as may, only them know the kind of contract they entered into by the fact that he brought him into the political arena, and by now, the man is trying to prove that he can stand alone. But as a Nigerian, I feel concerned, and this is why we say that this aspect of Godfathering have to end. People have to come and start taking facing accountability, start facing governance as being responsible of their government. So the situation where somebody places you in power and they demanding cutting the shots, those days have to be waived at so that we move ahead. So as a Nigerian, I'm disturbed, and this is not a good trend for us. We have to stop this, and I encourage all civil rights activists to wake up to this and start demanding for peace in Rivers.
Let's backtrack to last year. Governor Fubara, because he's having issues with the lawmakers there, who were PDP before, who have now joined the APC. There are about 27 of them, and he's been having running battles with them over. So last year, the House of Assembly was destroyed. Right now, we're seeing some trend coming up now. The quarters of the Rivers State House of Assembly may go down if things are not done about it. In this kind of a situation, who do you think is responsible for this? Is it the lawmakers who are making the laws over what we call the separation of powers, or the governor who doesn't want to assent to some bills which they passed and said, look, they are now laws?
I think there's a big contention in Rivers. And it's not far-fetched from the fact that this defection issue, remember the 27 lawmakers defected to APC, and the 4 remaining members went to court. And there's a court injunction in that regard, compelling the 27 lawmakers and their speaker to stop presenting themselves as lawmakers, because by law, they have waived their rights in that regard. So they should they should stop presenting themselves as lawmakers until the determination of the substantive suit in court. So that order is still the governor and the other parties are claiming that that order is still subsisting. So that is to say that these 27 lawmakers have no locus to form a quorum or to even call themselves lawmakers. So the defection is clear. The defection is clear. There's a decided case in, I think, Adekunle and the Labour Party. The Supreme Court stated clearly, it's not for you to decide whether a party is divided at the national level. Remember, the Constitution is clear on this. The Constitution is clear on defection. If you defect by virtue of the fact there is no, if there is no crack at the national level of your party, you lost your seat. So at this instance, these particular lawmakers defected when PDP was still intact. Remember, it was out of anger that made them to leave. I think they were following Wike. They left the party. So these ones went to court, insisting that you have lost your right. So that was why the court said, you stay out of the business of lawmaking until we determine the suit. So at this instance, the governor and the other group are saying they are no longer lawmakers. Then these ones are now claiming that they are lawmakers. So if you go by the position of the law, since they have vacated their seat, when there is no crack at the national division at the PDP at that point in time, they are no longer, they've got their seat vacant. And at that instance, they have to go back to the pool.
So could that explain why the governor made certain statements some days back? He made certain statements about they just fooling around in the house, that he doesn't recognize them as lawmakers, that they're only buying time. If he says they're only buying time, can we now juxtapose and relate it to what you have just said, that there's a court case on it?
No, the governor himself is even, as far as I'm concerned, this is my personal opinion, the governor is even, he's been to a level of arrogancy in this matter, concerning the fact that he's a governor, and that's a position of power. Judiciary is separate, executive is assumed to be separate, legislation is assumed to be separate. So in a situation where the governor now uses executive order, he wants to use the executive order to control the state. Anyway, the law allows that, but executive order can only come in place to give force to an existing law. You cannot, the executive cannot create law. The executive they are there to enforce and implement the law already created by legislatures. The judiciary is there to interpret the same law. So the governor cannot use executive fiat to impose a decision that is meant for the court, or even a law that is meant to be created by the legislator. So now, at this instance, if the governor, in his own wisdom, feels that the House cannot converge, that is authoritative arrangement. It is null and void. The governor cannot state where position the sitting, decide where the House sits. There's a decided case, I think, where there's one case like that. That was a Supreme Court decided matter. When Adedobu, the late Adedobu, that was when they wanted to impeach Aladoja in Oyo State. That matter was, we got to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court stated that, remember, the Adedobu arranged, and they had the house set in a hotel, and they impeached the governor in the hotel. So the law now stated clearly that the Supreme Court stated clearly that the House of Assembly sitting in a hotel is unknown to law. They have their medical complex. They have the House of Assembly complex. Any sitting that is outside the House of Assembly complex is not known to law.
Okay, if you are citing that case, which happened decades back, if you are citing that case, then how would you say that?
You know conjure.
Yes, would you now say that they're sitting in the House of in the Rivers State House of Assembly is not legal because they are not sitting in any hotel, they're not in any conference room or wherever, they are within the Rivers State House of Assembly, and they're sitting there.
Don't forget there's a court ruling that they should start presenting themselves as lawmakers until the court determines the case in court. By virtue of the fact they have defected to another political party, when there is no division in PDP as at that time, they've lost their seat.
Okay.
So that's what the governor is trying to enforce. He sees them as former lawmakers, not current lawmakers.
Okay, if the governor sees them as former lawmakers, that means he's preempting judgment, if we'll put it that way, because the case is yet to be determined.
court have given a pronouncement, stop parading yourself. That is to say, you should stop parading yourself and wait for the termination of the court, termination of the matter in court.
Okay. Could I explain why 4 PDP lawmakers now elected another speaker? Because we have 2 speakers as we speak in the Rivers State House of Assembly.
Now, those ones are acting, you can't do anything outside the Constitution. The Constitution is clear on all these matters. Now, these ones have lost their seats, and don't forget that this is why you call it a crisis. Because in an ideal situation, nobody expected that four lawmakers can form a quorum and start debating on an issue that concerns billions of naira or dollars, state funds. So it's a mockery. You have other local governments that are now being maybe sidelined. So lawmakers come from different local governments. So now there are some local governments that are no longer part of Lagos, Rivers State decision-making body. So if the legislators are now 4 members of, that's to say, 4 local governments, so to say, are now deciding the case of 20-something local government. It doesn't make sense. So that's why someone like me, it's called crisis. This is what we call crisis. We expected the political juggernauts in Rivers to rally around, because in either way, it's not going well for anybody. In this case, all of them are losers. Because the people, nobody's talking about governance now. Governance can only come, good governance can only come when there's peace and unity. When there is no peace, when there's no unity, people will be rallying around to maintain peace first before you start talking of progress. Peace and progress comes when there is peace. So in a situation where these people are now debating, fighting themselves internally, as against sitting down dialoguing on how to attract investment into rivers, they are now fighting themselves who occupy this particular house or the other. Then on the part of the governor, his executive order compelling, mandating the House to now converge in the House of Assembly, what do you call it? The government house is totally, I call it rascality, executive rascality. It doesn't call for that. He is not supposed to mandate the House. It's not like a judge. A governor telling the court when to sit. If there's no position, if there's no enough, if they don't have enough provision in the court, the chief judge of the state knows how to arrange the system and create courtrooms for the court. If there is no, you're like the court now telling governor when to sit and people that are around him when to have their meetings. So the House is independent. The legislature is independent. There's separation of power. The governor should not interfere in the internal affair. This is the internal affair of the legislators. It's not like the governors fighting themselves. Somebody, executive having some rancor within themselves, and you see legislator or House of Assembly speaker coming to interfere. It doesn't make sense. So in this case, the governor should not interfere in him going to the House, mandating them to do this or that. It doesn't speak well of him. We are talking about democracy here. But the House, majority of those people that have, although 4 lawmakers, they have defected when there is no no division in PDP. By that position, they have lost their seat.
Now, the governor is claiming, the Rivers State governor is claiming now that, of course, the station and the state has to move ahead. Funds have to be disbursed. Now, if you look at this situation, would we say now that some of the things he has done are impeachable offenses because he is yet to have a full house and is spending money?
Who will impeach him? The people that are calling for impeachment are not qualified to impeach. They've lost their seats. So what they are doing is nullity.
Okay, what of the 4 PDP lawmakers there? Are they legally supposed to be there? Because we should look at it from different angles. Can they make laws for the governor?
Let me say this thing clearly here. There's a matter in court. I'm not a judge in this matter. What you're just trying to do here is just phone opinion of the people. I cannot stay here and say validly whether they are, because there's a contention either way. So if you stay here and say, but what I know, by provision of the law, these ones have defected, when there is no, that one is clear. But now the contention that led to the defection and all whatnot is still in court. So if I stay here and say these ones are validly qualified to be in the House, you see, it is like preempting the court, because already an issue: who owns who is legitimately still who is still a legitimate lawmaker. That one is a different ballgame. Whether they form quorum or not is a different ballgame because they're in court. But the angle of defection is clear to every partisan lawyer that the Constitution is clear on provisions that's the ingredients that qualifies you to defect, or what happens after defection if you are not properly, if you didn't follow the process or the procedure that the law stated. The provisions are there. If you defect when there's no national crack at national level, you lose your seat. And the INEC is mandated to announce a date for new election. So you go and test your luck. If you comes back, you are now a legislator. So in this case, it's a lesson to all of them. You don't rush. Wike have gone out of the state. He's enjoying himself in Abuja. He's a minister. These ones were following him. And look at the court. Then the governor himself Wike brought him. I don't know what led to the agreement both of them have secretly. That is now, they are now trying to bring into us publicly. So whatever both of them decided to, whatever they agree upon, is known to them. People like us are just telling them, once you are in the public, we give you public opinion. We set our opinion known to Nigeria. We make it clear to Nigerians that these are, even in law, that's what we call enforceable, void, and unenforceable contracts or agreements. So this angle of Wike, whatever he signed with him outside the provision of the law, is not enforceable. They avoid contract. Even the one they went to Abuja to have with the president, these are gentleman agreements.
Yeah, I was just coming to that because the president wants peace and tranquility in the nation. And one way or the other, he called all the factions involved. And we thought, or Nigerians would have thought, that there will be peace now. But upon return of the governor to Rivers State, table turned. Things are changing. And the governor is saying, look, I'm in charge in the state. Nobody can dictate to me. In this kind of a situation, the grass is suffering. The people are suffering. What will happen?
Well, the governor, I don't know why he chose to, at the first instance, it's always good to be a man. We want to make a choice. You make your choice known to people. Not move as if you are being pushed around. Now, he went to Abuja, entered gentleman agreement. The president called them, intervened in their wahala, so to say, called them together, held a meeting with them. All of them embraced each other, shook hands, agreed on the principles, what to do. And it was made public. That agreement was made public. What have to be done? They have to reinstate the commissioners that all left their seats, even the legislators that defected that time, even the impeachment process have to be dropped. But the governor agreed on all these principles, went home, only for us to discover after some months that he's not done with him. He now came up with this angle we are now seeing. So maybe there's some internal rancor concerning local government affairs. Remember, they were supposed to have I think it's a claim he has stopped giving them fund, local government, whatever. It doesn't.
But the people are suffering.
That's what we are saying. So the governor should wake up, because we are in the 21st century. We are not in. There's no smoke without fire. There are a lot of things happening beneath. We are just seeing this at the periphery. Most of us are just seeing the smoke, but something is finding the smoke. There is a lot of pressure in Rivers. Don't forget. The governor claimed, Wike was saying that the governor is trying to change the structure that brought him to power. Brought the governor to power. And the governor is now saying that he's the executive. He has to do whatever he wants. He's in charge of his state. The local government election, they are demanding for local government election. He is saying that they want to bring caretaker committee. So these are some areas that is affecting the mindset of maybe the political godfather. But the people are suffering. That's why the best way is for the political gladiators in Rivers. We have the likes of all the ladies. They are still alive. The likes of Amechis, Celeste Nonier, these people are still alive, and they are power brokers in Rivers. These are strong men that can mediate, wave into this matter, and they ensure that the process is fast-tracked to restore peace in Rivers. Because Rivers cannot continue like this.
Yes, but there's something that we also need to let us discuss here, and that has to do with the existential threats. The existential threat, rather, let me put it that way, in Rivers State because of the plan to destroy the quarters. And we have it also on authoritatively that quarters was put up 2 years back. Now there are plans to destroy it. Are we not wasting resources just because we want to prove certain point?
Rivers is wasting resources. This governor is wasting resources. Nigeria is almost in recession. People are finding it difficult to get fuel. They're finding it difficult to eat. The little money, all the past investment, I've not even seen what he has started constructing in rivers. So where must he? Last time he went into the medical, what do you call their assembly complex. A demolition part of it. Now he's talking about going to the quarters, to demolish the quarters. If this is not budgeted for, we don't. Government have procurement, whatever, contracts have a process. You can't just wake up and start taking decisions. That's why we need to restore peace in the state. So if most of what he has done is contrary to the provision of the law, he should go for it. But for now, he's leveraging on the fact that these ones have no power to impeach him. And that's why you see him going up and down. But we have police that is constitutionally empowered to maintain peace and order. So I don't expect the governor to go into the legislative quarters to take decisions there, or go into a House of Assembly complex to decide whether they will sit or not. He's impending into their rights. He's trying to cross the boundaries demarcated by separation of power. So he's not permitted to do that. If there are if there are breach of law in any form, if anybody contravenes the law, the person should be made to be accountable, or should be held accountable. We have agencies set up by the same government that follow up investigation and they implement and they enforce the law. So the governor is not permitted to go to the hallowed chambers and start cutting short whether the House can sit or not. The police are there to ensure that the law is respected.
Now, yes, as we round up now, because time is not really on our side now. Now, some elders in Rivers State have waded in, and they have also said that that the assembly complex is still okay till over 25 years now that the integrity test has been done. As we round up now, your advice in that area for both parties now?
The best advice is that the governor should sheath his sword. He should swallow it. Though he is the commander-in-chief of that state, so to say, he is the #1 citizen of that state. Wike should allow him to upgrade the state. That's just advice. I'm calling on the minister, Wike, Nelson Wike, to, as a comrade, as a learned counsel, he should know better that there is a time for everything. This is the time for him to allow peace to reign in Rivers. Okay. The governor on his own part should understand that they started well somehow, and he should always respect some kind of gentleman agreement. Okay. Both of them have to meet. This matter is between both of them.
Okay, yes.
They can sit down and discuss.
I think time is not really on our side. I would have loved us to discuss more, but we'll still find time to come. It's been Talk Point on Lagos Television. I've been talking on the crisis in Rivers State. My guest has been Celestine Ilo, a legal practitioner. Thank you, Celestine Ilo, for being part of Talk Point.
It's always a pleasure.
Yes, on that note, we have come to the end of Talk Point. 767 and 112 are still the lines to always call in times of emergency. Stay out of trouble. Be peace-loving so that Nigeria can get better. I am Omololu Rosanwo saying bye-bye.